Hello friends, welcome to CEC Live Lectures. Dear friends, with our ongoing series on disaster management, today we are going to talk on one of the interesting topics. Today we are going to cover industrial accident, nuclear disaster and oil spills. And for the discussion on the topic, we have with us in our studios Dr. B.W. Pandey. Dr. B.W. Pandey is Associate Professor in Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. Friends, Dr. B.W. Pandey has authored numerous books as well as a number of articles have been published in reputed journals too. Friends, if you wish to ask questions from Dr. B.W. Pandey on today's topic, then do call us through our toll-free number. Our number is 1800-110-430. I repeat, our number is 1800-110-430. Now, I would like to welcome our guest, Dr. B.W. Pandey, and I would request him to explain us the topic in detail. Hello, sir.
Thank you, Geetika. Good afternoon, friends. Today we are going to discuss industrial accidents, nuclear disaster and oil spills. This is the continuous part of the series of the disaster management, and before that we have discussed so many kinds of disasters, including physical disasters and the anthropogenic disasters. Today we are going to discuss the threat, kind of hazards and the disaster posed by human accidents, negligence, mistakes, and due to technological failures. These are industrial accidents, nuclear disasters, and oil spills. You find so many evidences right from the country to the global scale. There are examples of the millions and millions of people were killed due to suffocation, due to illness. And it is a kind of disaster which not only affect today. These industrial accidents, nuclear disasters have impact today, tomorrow and beyond tomorrow. So many generations. You can find the evidences of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Generations and generations were affected with the impact of the nuclear bomb. So this is a detailed analysis of the industrial accidents, nuclear disasters and oil spills. We'll discuss all the way and find what do you mean by industrial accidents. An accident, industrial, is a sudden and unexpected occurrence in the industry which interrupts the orderly progress of the work. According to the Factories Act 1948, it is an occurrence in an industrial establishment causing bodily injury to a person or a group who makes him unfit to resume his duties in the next 48 hours. So many disabilities occur due to industrial accidents. Accident is an unexpected event in the course of employment which is neither anticipated nor designed to occur. Unwanted happenings, unexpected changes, sudden outbreak. There are so many sudden calamities created by machines, mankind. So, see the types of accidents. The types of industrial hazards are: number one, chemical hazards; number two, physical hazards; number three, biological hazards. And the accidents may be different types depending upon severity, durability, and degree of the injury. The severity, what is the extent of the accident? It could be from a single injury to the single person, to the mass level. Remember the tragedy of Bhopal. Millions of the people were affected due to industrial accidents. Chemicals, release of the gas, sometimes it gets fire and its magnitude, its extent varies from individual, a local level to the mass level, which affect millions and millions of the population. So what is the level of severity? It could be very small to the very large. Durability, it could be for a few seconds if it is managed in due time, and it can last longer, so many days and months. And the degree of injury, it could be a small injury through the machines, accidents, or it could be large scale fatal death like Bhopal, Chernobyl, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and so many places. So these are very important components to evaluate the industrial accidents and disasters on the basis of severity, durability, and the degree of injury. Friends, if you say that detailed about the accidents, industrial accidents, you can divide into two parts as the internal industrial accidents and the external industrial accidents. Internal industrial accidents, generally they are major. External industrial accidents, generally they are minor. It could be vice versa, but if it is minor, it can be managed easily in due time. But if it is a major, then major industrial accidents are fatal. It creates large scale disability, and disability, now you can see it depends on the durability, duration. In a short duration, it can be a temporary disability. Temporary. And if it is high magnitude, it can create permanent disability, like so many people lost eyes, hands, legs. They are unable to listen due to industrial accidents. So it becomes permanent disability. This is because of prolonged duration of the accidents. The temporary accidents could be partial, could be total, but generally permanent accidents having mega impact to the individual or up to the community level. There are so many reasons for the accidents, industrial accidents. The industrial safety experts have classified the various causes of accidents into three broad categories. Three broad categories. Number one, which is unsafe conditions. Number two, unsafe acts. Number three, other causes. So unsafe conditions, generally we find among the third world countries, developing countries, the poverty unemployment, lack of education, laborers are easily available and find it's very unsafe conditions as compared to the developed countries. Unsafe act and so many other reasons created by man. Unsafe conditions, generally it is related to work. Unsafe condition, these are associated with defective plants, tools, equipments, machines and materials. Such causes are known as technical causes. They arise when there are improper guarded equipments, defective equipments, faulty layout and location of the plant, inadequate lighting, arrangements and ventilation. Many times we found the people die due to unsafe ventilation, they die due to suffocation. So, unsafe ventilation, unsafe storage, inadequate safety devices. There are almost every year we come across to the news this kind of very sad news regarding industrial accidents, and this could be one of the best example of the inadequate arrangements of the ventilation, unsafe storage and inadequate safety devices. There are industries, factories which are running in such a critical condition building which can collapse any time. And secondly, there are number of industries which doesn't have safe passage in the time of emergency. There are number of plants, industries which are known only after the industrial accidents that they are running without permission, without clearance from the forest department, from other government agencies. And very recently we have a best example of the Delhi Bhavana industrial accidents, in which number of people were died, burnt, because they could not get safe passage to come out from the building, and the laborers working in the factory, they died. The unsafe passage, violation of rules without clearance from the government agencies, these conditions are the responsible for the causes of industrial accidents. Besides the psychological reasons such as working overtime, monotony, fatigue, tiredness, frustration and anxiety are also some other causes that cause accidents. Friends, among the developing countries, among the poor countries, where wages are very low, daily income is very low, to sustain the family, laborers, they do work overtime. Rather 8 hours, they work more than 12 hours, 15 hours a day. That creates lot of tiredness, fatigue, and they are not able to get clean air and water in the factory, in the industry. Therefore, they are laborers, they are happen to get premature death. Premature death, that's why among the mega cities, in the urban areas where there are industrial sectors, these industrial sectors are known as city of death. City of death because the laborers working in the industry, they lost their health, and where the longevity of life on an average, say about 70 years, they die at the age of 55, 50 years. So that it is called city of death. Premature death because of the overtime, fatigue, tiredness, frustration, anxiety, and so many other industrial causes. Unsafe acts. Unsafe acts like industrial accidents occur due to certain acts on the part of workers. These acts may be the result of lack of knowledge or skill on the part of the worker, certain bodily defects and wrong attitudes. Sometimes we can find that a person having the license to drive two-wheelers, they are generally found driving four-wheelers. So the operator who is not skilled enough to operate that particular machine, and they do operate and creates lot of industrial accidents. Operating without authority. So division of labor is must, training and skill is must. So if operating industrial machines, tools without authority, that will create the fatal permanent disability. Failure to use safe attire or personal protective equipments. Lifeguards. Safety is first. You can see a kind of new culture which I had perceived in Delhi before the construction of Delhi Metro Railway. I had seen laborers, workers working in the construction sites, buildings, roadsides without wearing helmets. And when the construction began with the DMRC, I was very happy and I learned the lesson that even the laborers, they wear helmet as a protection all the time. Without helmet, they cannot enter the premises and the sites of the construction. This is a kind of safety matters. So failure to use safe attire or personal protective equipments, operating without authority, careless throwing of material at the workplace. Careless throwing of material at the workplace. So provide safe passage is very, very important. If you travel in any airline, you are not supposed to sit in the corridor. You can't put anything. All the doors, passage kept very, very available without any blockade. So passage, an emergency exit passage is very important to save the life. Using unsafe equipment or using equipment unsafely. There are so many machines which are old, outdated. Overuse of the machine creates disaster. Sometimes there is causes of the fire. Using equipments unsafely, if the equipments are new, up to mark, unsafely use of the equipments also create different kinds of disaster and risk. Removing of safety devices. In every industry, there are safety devices which need to be implemented, which need to be take care. So removing safety devices and taking unsafe position under suspended loads. These are kind of priority check in the industries. To avoid the accidents, it must be the taking the safe position under the suspended loads. It should not be the unsafe. Distracting, teasing, abusing, quarreling, daydreaming, and horseplay. These are the invitation to the accidents. These should be avoided. These are particularly known as unsafe acts and one's own accident-prone personality and behavior. Don't take risk. Don't have a bait. Don't get challenged with the machines and equipments. These accidents will be fatal, causing to permanent disability or even to death. So these are unsafe acts, and other causes arise out of the unsafe situational and climatic conditions and variations. These may include excessive noise. Due to excessive noise, there are permanent disabilities. Very high temperature, particularly during summer season, we find laborers working in the open space where temperature is more than 45, 46 degrees Celsius. So very high temperature or very cold temperature. Both are having negative impact. Humid conditions, bad working conditions, unhealthy environment, and it is very common among the developing countries. Unhealthy environment. To create this healthy environment, avoid the accidents. Thanks to the Prime Minister of India who launched the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. To create healthy environment, clean environment everywhere for everyone in the country. Make public spaces as individual space. Make the public spaces to our own spaces. Feel the self-responsibility and create a healthy environment. Slippery floors. Sometimes floors are wet, and due to the wet floors, there are slippery conditions which cause the industrial accidents. Excessive glare, dust and fumes. Dust and fumes, these are the silent killers. It chokes the lungs, arteries, and slowly it creates death. Friends, industries, factories, which are generally full of dust and fume, and these dust and fumes gradually kill the people. And you can find, because of the anthropogenic activities in and around Delhi and NCR. During winter season, many times in a year, Delhi becomes a gas chamber, extremely unsafe air to inhale. It creates a lot of respiratory diseases. So industries, vehicles, burning, all these conditions contribute to the pollution. So industries, factory areas generally characterized with the dust and fume, which creates lot of respiratory problems, lung problem, and it creates the condition of the death. So city of death is generally or industrial areas. Arrogant behavior of the engineering supervisor. Sometimes the engineering supervisors also have misbehavior with the laborers. So these are the causes, major causes, minor causes of the industrial accidents. Of late, industrial accidents have become common happening in our country. A brief catalogue of major accidents in the recent past in India, you can find there. So these industrial accidents, the major causes, could be avoided if there is in due time proper care taken of. Friends, industrial development is essential for the sustainability of the country, for sustaining economic growth, sustaining per capita income, sustaining the GDP. But on the other hand, it is also very, very important to save the lives of the individual and up to the community. These unsafe conditions which are prevailing, there are so many examples that happened in Delhi, in Mumbai, mega cities particularly. There is a collapse of the building. So many people get trapped and die. Fire and unsafe passage. This is the reason that Government of India, Government of Delhi, at government level, it has become mandatory first to take permission, to take clearance before establish the industry. Clearance from the DDA, clearance from the Jal Board, clearance from the Forest Department. There are so many nodal agencies which provide clearance to bring safety, to save the life of the industrial workers and laborers. Beyond that, due to the lucrative, irresponsible behavior of the owners, industrialists, the manager of the factory, they take the risk and operate the machines, operate the industry, operate the factory without clearance, which ultimately creates accidents and death among the society.
And with this note, we would like to thank Dr. B.W. Pandey for giving us this productive session. Friends, we have a lot for you, so you are requested to be with us. We will be back after a short break. Thank you. Hello friends, welcome back to the session. Friends, in our previous session we discussed on industrial accidents, whereas in this session we are going to cover nuclear disaster as well as oil spills. And for the discussion on the topic, we have with us in our studios Dr. B.W. Pandey. Friends, if you have any questions concerning the topic, then do call us through our toll-free number. Our number is 1800-110-430. I repeat, our number is 1800-110-430. Now, I would like to welcome our guest, Dr. B.W. Pandey, once again, and would request him to continue further.
Thank you, Geetika. Good afternoon, friends. We're talking about the industrial accidents, nuclear disasters, and the oil spills, and we discussed about the causes of the industrial accidents, type of industrial accidents, and now I would like to discuss the few empirical evidences about the major accidents in the country in the last few decades. And it is reported that in every 20 seconds of every working minutes of every hour throughout the world, someone dies as a result of an industrial accident. This is very unfortunate. And you can see every 20 seconds of every working minute of every hour throughout the world, someone dies as a result of an industrial accident. And among the major industrial accidents, you can find the Bhopal, December 1984, Bhopal in the world's the worst chemical disaster, which killed over 4,000 people and thousands suffered irreversible health damage. And you know the history of the Union Carbide plant in Bhopal. In Delhi, December 1985, a gas leak from the Shriram Foods and Fertilizer plant in Delhi severely affected workers, and those living in the neighborhood areas got ill. There are major damages. In Rourkela, in December 1985, there was a blast, furnace accidents in the Rourkela steel plant, which killed 18 workers. Durgapur, in June 1987, chlorine leak at Durgapur chemical factory created panic all around. Long distance trains were halted, over hundreds were affected. These are known industrial accidents. In Mumbai 1988, fire at the Bharat Petroleum Refinery at Mahul, northeast Bombay, killed 32 people. Fire is one of the major cause, and it is fatal. Ramagundam, in September 1989, the major gas leak in the Fertilizer Corporation of India, unit at Ramagundam, that killed 7 people in Tamil Nadu. November 1990, Nagothen explosion at the Indian petrochemicals, where 35 persons were killed. Over 50 suffered 70% burns. 1991 in July, Mumbai, accident in Hindustan Organic Chemicals unit near Bombay kills 7 workers. Gwalior in 1991, blast the dyeing department of the glass unit. Gwalior, 14 killed and 22 severely injured. Panipat, August 1992, Panipat, ammonia leak at the National Fertilizer Plant, Panipat, killed 11 people and many injured. There are so many accidents which you can list in India and abroad. So many coverage you can find about the industrial accidents. In simple words, safety means freedom from the occurrence or risk of injury or loss. As regards industrial safety, it means the protection of employers, workers from the danger of risk of industrial accidents. Accident reduction can be reduced by two approaches. Number one, the actuarial approach. It involves studying the statistics to determine accidents based on actual data. The factors related to the accident's frequency should be identified. The violations of safety rules must be clearly identified. So, this approach is based on the collected data, relationship of the data, occurrences of the accidents and their analysis provide an important analysis to control, to check, to avoid the industrial accidents. Safety educational campaign, as I told you, education is an important asset for the country, which provide many psychological changes among the people. Safety education is must be conducted by management to the employee groups, and it should be the prior responsibility of the employer. Before employing an individual labor in the factory, in the industry, the safety educational campaign is must. Management of overexposure, removal from exposure, prompt removal of person to exposure site, air respirators and lifelines are mandatory, and the first aid. These are the precautionary measures which can avoid the industrial accidents. Decontamination. A victim whose skin or clothing has been contaminated requires immediate removal of garments and shoes. So, these prompt actions, immediate relief measures, these are the prior responsibility of the employer to provide a safe, healthy working environment to protect the community, to protect the labor community from the industrial disasters. Friends, after these detailed analysis of the industrial disasters, we will move now to the nuclear disaster. Nuclear disaster, these are hybrid disaster, having massive impact on the community, massive impact to the coming generation. And this is good to say that nuclear accidents anywhere, nuclear accident anywhere is a nuclear accident everywhere. Nuclear accident anywhere is the nuclear accident everywhere. So, this is the mass impact of the nuclear disaster. It is one of the hybrid mass impact disaster. It could be nuclear reactors. All commercial reactors in the world are nuclear fission reactors. Such reactors have a turbine and generator to turn and produce electricity. Most reactor types turn water into steam and use a steam turbine, while others heat up a gas and use a gas turbine. Both forms of water, light water and heavy water are used in nuclear reactors. The nuclear reactors that use the regular water in a purified form are called light water reactors. On the other hand, some reactors such as CANDU, the Canada Deuterium Uranium, employ natural uranium which is not enriched and use heavy water known as heavy water reactors. So whether it is a light water reactors or heavy water reactors, nuclear reactors have several nuclear threats. There are so many issues related to India's nuclear safety. We have so many evidences on the accidents, sometimes caused by nature, which result the nuclear reactor tragedy. For example, Japan. Because of the very severe tsunami in Japan, the nuclear reactors of the East Coast, these reactors were affected, and there were a severe threat to the people and the environment. Friends, nuclear disasters not only affect the mankind, it affects the generation, it affects the flora and fauna, it affects the biodiversity. Hence, nuclear reactors are a threat to the entire living community. The achievement of proper operating conditions, prevention of accidents or mitigation of accidents, consequences resulting in protection of workers, the public and the environment from undue radiation hazards. Friends, radiation is a major threat from the nuclear reactors. This radiation creates a lot of damage among the public. Life support. Nuclear safety covers safe management, fissionable materials, extraction, transportation, storage, processing, and disposal. These are safety covers in the nuclear reactors. The fissionable materials, which requires extraction, transportation, storage, processing, and disposal. Safety of nuclear power generators. Safety of nuclear power generators. Control and safe management of nuclear weapons. Control and safe management of nuclear weapons. Nuclear materials capable of use as a weapon and other radioactive materials. Friends, there are many evidences about the uncontrolled nuclear reactor tragedy, nuclear accidents right from Russia, Japan to India. So, safe handling, accountability and use in industrial, medical and research extent. Lot of research and development are required handling the nuclear reactors. Disposal of nuclear waste. This is very, very important. Nuclear waste disposal itself is a challenge. And Japan had suffered the Minamata disease. Minamata disease in Japan due to disposal of nuclear waste in the Pacific Ocean. So, disposal of nuclear waste, limitations on exposure to radiation, and you can find there are so many major issues in nuclear safety management, like legal status of the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Atomic Energy Regulatory Board 1983 provides a legal status, authority, inadequate emergency preparedness, safe passage, inadequate emergency preparedness, post-accidents care and management, location and site clearance. The site suitability analysis is done. That's why many research and development initiatives are required. Issues over compensation clause in Nuclear Liability Act. So now at international level, at the national level, there are many agencies which are working on the compensation clause in the Nuclear Liability Act. There are many examples and evidences of the major nuclear disasters, including India and the world. You can find there are examples from Kalpakkam, fast breeder test reactor at Kalpakkam, refueling accidents that ruptures the reactor core, resulting in a 2-year shutdown, which cost $300 million to control it on the 4th May 1987. Tarapur on 10th September 1989. The operators at the Tarapur Atomic Power Station find that the reactor had been leaking radioactive iodine at more than 700 times. So it takes $78 million to repair it. Again, in Tarapur, 13th May 1992, Tarapur, a malfunctioning tube causes the Tarapur Atomic Power Station to release 12 curies of radioactivity. It took $2 million to control it. Narora in Uttar Pradesh in 1993. Narora Atomic Power Station suffers a fire at 2 of its steam turbine blades, damaging the heavy water reactor. It cost $220 million. In 1995, February, Kota, Rajasthan, called Rawat Bhatta, the Rajasthan Atomic Power Station leaks radioactive helium and heavy water into the Rana Pratap Sagar, and it cost $280 million. And in Kalpakkam again in 2002, almost 100 kg radioactive sodium at a fast breeder reactor leaks into the purification cabin, and it required $30 million to control over this. So there are many examples of such kind of nuclear accidents, and which is controlled by the devices, research and development. Safety framework in nuclear power plants in India, find the regulatory framework. Friends, Atomic Energy Regulatory Board is responsible. It is an independent agency to frame the policies, lays down safety standards and requirements, and monitor and enforce all the safety provisions, stage-wise licensing. It gives license. The Atomic Energy Radiation Protection Rules 2004 from the basis of regulatory control activities related to radiation protection. So this in 2004, the radiation protection rules were passed, which control activities related to the radiation protection. Radioactive waste management method called Emergency Preparedness Framework. The Disaster Management Act 2005 provides the effective management of disasters, including accidents involving the NPPs. The zoning concept and emergency planning. Emergency planning zone. All these government agencies provide nuclear protection policy, and nuclear protection policy, prevention protection policy is the first hand requirement from the nuclear accidents, nuclear reactors. Friends, nuclear's impact or mega impact, therefore, it requires more care and handling. Now, we'll move to the oil spills disaster. Friends, there are so many accidents in the ocean, at the seashore. There is a collapse of the ships, fire in the ship carrying petroleum and petroleum products, chemicals, and you find right in the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, so many accidents and stories we can find. An oil spill is the release of a liquid petroleum hydrocarbon into the environment, especially marine areas, due to human activity, and is a form of pollution, marine pollution, which ultimately affect the terrestrial biosystem. Oil floats on salt water and usually on fresh waters also, though dense oil is capable of sinking in fresh water. Oil spreads out very rapidly across the surface of the water to form a thin layer called as oil slick. It forms oil slick, and the surface of water covered with the thin layer of the oil called oil slick. With even more spreading, the layer of oil on the water surface starts becoming thinner and thinner, and this thin layer is called as sheen. Sheen develops many times. For example, off the Mumbai coast, in the Gulf of Mexico, near Florida, in the Pacific Ocean, the conditions of the sheen are observed many times. This sheen reaches far beyond the location of the original spills, due to which there are severe after effects on environment and marine life. After effect that creates damage to both flora and fauna in the marine system. Main causes of oil spills are natural causes like tsunami, cyclone, thunderstorm. These are natural causes when ship in the ocean affected by tsunami, it collapsed. Affected by cyclone, thunderstorm, it collapsed the ship and the oil spills come out. Human causes like war, attack, sabotage, human mistakes, anthropogenic factor, and human mistakes leading to a collision. That recently, last month in January, you find the collision of the two ships in Pacific Ocean. The one ship from the Gulf countries having loaded with the oil collided with the another merchant ship. There were fire and oil spills took place. Also, it could be a technical failure, technical reason. There is a large scale impact of the oil spill on marine life. This time was core breeding period for olive redley turtle, and due to the oil slick sticking to the gut, mother turtle may find it difficult to lay the eggs. On birds, many birds die due to drowning and inability to eat due to oil sticking to their body. On humans, humans get exposed to toxicity through breathing gaseous oil compounds. Oil compounds absorb particulate matter dispersed through the air. Exposure can also happen due to activities in the contaminated ground, for example soil, or through skin absorption when touching the spilled material. There is also negative impact on the economy, the loss of imported oil, financing the cleaning up process, after effects on neighboring industries, local tourism takes a hit to the reduced falls, physical damages such as coating birds or animal which lie in the oil, toxicity, disruption of food chain, modification of marine ecosystem, visual pollution. And there are many examples of the oil spills, like 1989 in Mumbai, 89 in Saurashtra, 91 in the Cochin, Andaman Nicobar, Malabar coast, Dwarka, the Mumbai harbour, Mumbai coast. So many examples we can find about the oil spills. And through burning, through skimming, through using chemicals, we are manage it, oil spills, the post oil spills management. And there is a National Oil Spill Disaster Contingency Plan which controls management of the oil spills, and a process known as oil japper. The oil japper is a technique, is a bioremedial methods to clean up the oil spills. So oil japper is now being studied and applied by the Government of India to reduce the impact of the oil spills. Friends, all these phenomena covering the industrial accidents, nuclear accidents and oil spills are the major anthropogenic disaster which needs the proper management, disaster management, pre-disaster management and post-disaster management. So with these lectures I'd like to conclude. If you have any question, you are most welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for giving us this productive session. And friends, if you wish to ask questions, then do write to us at info.cec@nic.in. We will love to solve your questions the next time when Dr. B.W. Pandey visits our studio. So keep watching us, keep writing us. We will be meeting again soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.